Today on Drawbli.
Ben is drawing a Draco Malfoy Doppelgänger.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Abby.
And we are self-taught artists documenting our process of learning to draw, which is, of course, better with friends.
So click that subscribe button if you're new around here and share your art on Instagram with #Drawbli.
And check out our new guidebook, How to Easily Draw Every Day, at the link down below in the description.
So, Ben, was this originally something that you set out to create, a Draco Malfoy Doppelgänger, or did it turn out that way and you labeled it in hindsight, which I do all the time with my videos?
More so the latter.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, I was just drawing this guy, and I was like, oh, this kind of looks like Draco Malfoy. I think this is a Draco Malfoy Doppelgänger.
Is he from your imagination?
He's from a few different references that I found online for the sketch, which has been my little thing that I've been experimenting with a lot lately. Playing around with looking at a few different images. I found this really bony model. If I saw the reference image, I'll put it up on screen right now. And a couple different AI images that were really similar looking to this guy that had like super gaunt faces that I thought were cool.
I like your thing of stealing back from the AI.
Well, I think it's fun to combine a bunch of different images, and a lot of them look really similar, so I was able to find a few that kind of looked the same and acted as a good sketch reference. So my current thing that I've been playing around with a lot, if you haven't been around on Drawbli for a while, is I've been doing that for sketches, and then once I get to the sketch, I put all reference away and start to play around with like random colors. I did this twice this week, so I have another one coming very soon.
That's cool. Before you put away your reference, where did you have it?
Oh, I just keep it on my phone.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Like, I've had it up on my desktop computer before, sometimes on my phone. It is nice to not take up real estate on the iPad screen with it. What size are our iPads?
We have like the 11-inch iPad. It's the smaller version of the two.
Oh, sometimes I feel the smallness of it.
Oh, I don't think it's I don't think it's that bad.
It's not that bad, but sometimes I do wish, I could just move my whole arm with willful abandon.
I guess. I actually prefer the size because it feels more like a sketchbook. Whereas, I have a 24-inch Cintiq tablet here that we're actually recording right in front of, and I use this for sculpting. But I'll be honest, it gets really tiring. It takes a while to get used to. Like, you're drawing on this big screen, you got your whole arm in the motion. But when you have your iPad and you're on the go, it's nice to just be able to do, like you would in a sketchbook.
That's fair. That is fair. I get that with the arm being tired, though. I experienced that if I ever blow dry my hair or braid my hair with your arms up in the air that long. It gets exhausting faster than you realize.
So, do you experience, you mentioned wanting to get your whole arm into the motion. Like, do you feel like that would help you a lot in your work?
I think so. I do. I would love to be able to do that a bit more than we are currently able to with our current setups. I could use the Artboard Pro.
The Abby Board Pro.
The Abby Board Pro, which I purchased for, your birthday or Christmas?
It was my birthday gift, and then all of a sudden, Abby was the only one using it. So It became the Abby Board Pro.
Well, now it's the Behind the Bookshelf Pro, because neither of us has been using it very much of late.
My favorite part about the iPad is the on-the-go nature of it.
That's something you've talked about since the very dawn of Drawbli, is how excited you were to not be locked away to a desktop.
Exactly.
As you are for sculpting, and I'm happy for you. It's nice to go to coffee shops and coffee shops in the living room.
As someone who has worked from home for a very long time, and then got to listen to people say during COVID, like, oh, wow, it's really lonely working from home all the time. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Me over here, been doing that for so long.
Me still working at the hospital during COVID, like, why didn't I have one of those at-home jobs? Totally different ball game.
But yeah, it does get lonely. It does get old fast. So I really enjoy about once, maybe twice a week, going out to a cafe or maybe the local university, hanging out around there and drawing.
I love the blue rim light you're putting on him here.
Thank you.
I think it goes really well with his eyes.
Yeah, I don't know if I did it intentionally here, but something that I've heard and something I do want to try to think about more is having one color that is like the highlight color. There's some there's like a math to it where it's like, oh, 60% of your colors should be kind of neutral. 30% of your colors should be like, a nice, your main color, and then 10%, that last little bit, is like your spice, your salt and pepper on top.
You're deeply saturated, very bright.
Something that draws attention to something like the eyes.
Oh, well, that's cool. I like this kind of foggy atmosphere you're adding behind him, too.
I know, I thought that was cool.
Was that in a reference, or was that something that you stumbled upon?
No, it started off as something I don't really do it too much anymore, but in my 3D character renders, there's a technique that you can do where you can put a small, gentle white glow behind a character, specifically its head, can draw more attention to it. It's like such a subtle effect that you probably don't really notice it in a lot of my works, but it's enough that it can help subconsciously draw your eye or attention more towards the face. So I started doing that. It was giving him more of a halo look here, but then it kind of turned into this like foggy blue, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I like that. I'm gonna keep that in there.
Something I like about your style is that you don't worry too much about the perfection of every individual brushstroke.
I'm so over it. Yeah.
It can be very like geometric, kind of spiky, like we see with those highlights on the ears. And in that way, you are like Monet, because as you saw at the Chicago Institute of Art, Monet's pieces read really well from a few steps back, and then you get up close, and it almost looks like a bunch of like haphazard brushstrokes.
Yeah, I actually really like that nature of drawing and painting that you can't necessarily get with sculpture. With a style like this, with this kind of style in a 3D character, it'd have to be super clean. Having these messy brushstrokes everywhere would just kind of break the style. It just wouldn't work really well with it. But in 2D, you can leave that sketchy nature in a lot of ways, the sketchy nature like adds a lot. I'm a big fan of the sketchy feel.
I feel like in the new Spider-Man movie, maybe you agree or not since you're more in tune with sculpting, they've found a way with drawing over their models to sort of blend both worlds, like have a sketchy nature and have, good 3D models.
That's a little different. They're specifically adding 2D elements on top of a 3D artwork, which is why that looks the way it does. That's why it looks good. If you were to add 3-dimensional elements, you could have like little particle effects, and I'm not even sure how they render some of that stuff. With knowing next to nothing about it, I would have to assume that a lot of it is like a particle effect, but I have no idea if they're going in there frame by frame, like painting over stuff or what.
I don't know. I did see a reel on Instagram by an artist who worked on the movie, who was responsible for just these brief, like 2 to 3 frame cutaway scenes that were meant to
look... Was it the T-Rex one?
No.
Okay.
It was something about painting the bad guy Spider-Man.
The bad guy Spider-Man. Whoa, spoilers.
Like,
also, he's
frames.
not a bad guy.
Oh, well, the conflicted Spider-Man.
There you go.
The conflicted Miguel Spider-Man. No, am I getting his name right? Yeah.
No, it's Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah. And like these cutaway frames that are just there for a couple seconds that are meant to replicate like an older sci-fi style, and they're just there for a couple frames and then they're gone, but they are their own whole piece of like artwork and care. I love that about that movie, that every frame feels like it was cared for and assessed.
Yeah, you would be surprised by how many movies do stuff like that, but what the Spider-Verse movies do differently is that they throw in mixtures of so many different effects and kind of styles within the same film. So it really does kind of feel like more of a variety in their movies. I really like it. I'm a big fan of the visual style of those movies. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, if you've seen a preview for that, which is apparently directed by Seth Rogen, has a very similar feeling to it. I'm not sure if it's done by the same studio or what, but they clearly either took inspiration from them or, it's just made by the same people.
It might be made by the same people. I did hear the Spider-Verse people copyrighted that style somehow, and I don't know how you really put bars on an art style per se, but apparently that method that they use for Across the Spider-Verse is like protected by them.
If I had to guess, it's probably on whatever technology they're using, because it's near impossible to copyright something like an art style.
Yeah. I think there's probably plenty of arguments against copywriting art styles at all. Even if it is legally possible, it sounds like the kind of thing that shouldn't be done.
I agree. To my knowledge, it is not legally possible, and I think I've seen attempts at it in the past. By 2D artists.
Similarly with like music, and we've
very
seen those
similar.
trials at the news here and there where it's like, can you copyright? Like, can you truly legally protect certain music styles or things like that?
And the answer is no, you can.
Well, hey, this turned out just incredible. I love everything about this work. I wish I could create characters like this, just like you. This is awesome.
You
Good job.
can create characters like this. I've seen you do stuff like this many times.
I don't know.
I watched you draw from the imagination yesterday, and you were drawing some really cool stuff.
Oh, thank you. Now I just need to master color the way you do. I think it's your color that I'm really envious of here.
And if you want to master color, click that like and subscribe button and check out our new guidebook, How to Easily Draw Every Day, at the link down below in the description.
Share your work on Instagram with #Drawbli because drawing is better with friends.
And this is the part where we say
Goodbye.
Goomba. So, you think I've mastered color?
I like your color work that you do. I don't know what it is, but I want it for myself.
I feel like master is still the wrong word.
It's a word.